It's exaggerated by the left to make it sound like Trump is some dictator trying to violate the Constitution. It's absolutely ridiculous.
If you're saying they're just pushing the limits and testing their policy to see what's constitutional or not, you can maybe make that argument for his first term when he attempted this, but right now what he's doing is clearly unconstitutional because it's already been ruled against.
All right, so do you agree or disagree that Trump's a great president?
I obviously disagree with that.
All right, lay out your argument why you disagree.
Yeah, so I imagine you wouldn't agree that anyone that violates the Constitution should be a president. I believe Trump has constantly violated the everything, like a ton of amendments in the Constitution, and he's knowingly done that. And he's not just trying to litigate anything; he's knowingly violating the Constitution.
Okay, what can you give me an exact time and an event where he violated the Constitution?
April 28th, I believe he enacted a executive order to withhold funding from sanctuary cities.
Do you understand that every president tests the limits of their presidency, and if anything bumps up against the Supreme Court, they just say no? Trump is literally, he was trying to protect citizens with that move. He wasn't trying to violate the Constitution, and that's how you're framing that argument. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. So back in 2018, he was already ruled that what he was doing was unconstitutional by multiple federal courts, and now he's trying it again in his second term.
Do you know that every single president has been literally pushed back upon from the Supreme Court? Every single one. Every single president tests the limits of their power. This is normal behavior.
Agreed in a sense, right? But Trump has already litigated the same exact argument where he wasn't allowed to revoke federal funding from sanctuary cities, and now he's trying it again. Isn't that knowingly?
How is he trying again? When is he doing that?
Yeah, April 28th, he implemented an executive order to remove sanctuary funding from sanctuary cities.
You brought up April 29th, and then you went a day before that, so that wasn't an event post the 29th. We've already talked about this.
I said April 28th, but yeah, you can look up him. He has a whole thing on whitehouse.gov about him removing funding from sanctuary cities, and in 2018, this was deemed unconstitutional.
Do you know how much money these sanctuary cities are sucking up? There's 26 states that give out things like cash benefits, healthcare, all kinds of wild stuff to illegal aliens, and Trump is not about that. Over $149 billion reported by the Congressional Budget Office that illegal aliens are taking out of our economy, and it's $149 billion. He's trying to save the U.S. He's doing his exact job as president.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to talk about sanctuary cities if they're good or bad or not, right? I'm saying what Trump is doing is clearly unconstitutional because he has been already ruled against it for doing the same exact things in his first term. And now in the second term, he's trying to implement the same exact thing. So this shows him knowingly violate the Constitution, right?
No, he's trying to protect Americans from illegal aliens taking their taxpayer dollars. He's not trying to violate the Constitution. You're absolutely wrong.
Do you believe that the federal or the executive, if they're protecting the people, can violate rules of the Constitution?
No.
You don't believe that. So
No.
if I was... So why did you bring up the fact that he's not violating the Constitution, he's protecting people? So
because every single president has an agenda, and they try to carry out that agenda to the law. And that's why we have three branches of government, is because those other two branches help check the executive branch. And there may be something that he does that the Supreme Court disagrees with, but he has never woken up in the morning and been like, I want to violate the Constitution to be a fascist and a dictator. And that's the way the left paints it. It's absolutely false. Every single president has, in a way, violated the Constitution and been told by the Supreme Court that you can't do that. Every single president. Because it's our balance, it's our system of balances and checks. This is totally normal. It's exaggerated by the left to make it sound like Trump is some dictator trying to violate the Constitution. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so if you're saying they're just pushing the limits and testing their policy to see what's constitutional or not, I would say you can maybe make that argument for his first term when he attempted this, but right now, what he's doing is clearly unconstitutional because it's already been ruled against. And second of all, I don't know why you keep bringing up his policy like that has any kind of like grounding. If your policy is unconstitutional, that's kind of where we get our sentiment.
I don't think it's unconstitutional. Listen, I understand the power of the purse lies with the Congress, and I understand the Trump administration is trying to protect taxpayers from literally $149 billion last year. Illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. These folks came in and took that money straight out of taxpayers' pockets, broke the law while they were doing it. I don't think they should get any money, and I'm proud of the president for standing up for that.
Okay, so that would be an Article 1 power that I would also believe he is violating. I'm not too informed on that, but I'm saying he's violating the 10th Amendment, which gives states their own sovereignty over the federal laws. So I would say that's
How does
pretty.
the 10th Amendment have anything to do with this? How does it have anything to do with Congress having the power of the purse and Trump trying to help people from not getting their money stolen by illegal aliens?
Because you would agree that sanctuary cities are legal, correct?
Yeah, they're legal, but I don't like them.
Okay, yeah, so they are legal, and Trump is trying to revoke something that is currently illegal, right?
Trump's trying to make sure that taxpayers do not pay hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens, and I'm glad he's doing it. I'm glad he's testing the limits of the power of the executive to do that. 100%. I'm proud of him.
So I think it was back in 2010, 2012. It was a Supreme Court case called the NFIB. It was where Obama was revoking some Medicare benefits if they didn't follow with the ACA. And this was deemed as illegal by Chief Justice John Roberts and the Supreme Court because you cannot coerce states to comply with federal laws. That is illegal, right?
It's not illegal for states to be pressured by the government. Federal law supersedes all state law.
Yeah, agreed. But states do not have to comply with that law, right?
Yes, they do. 100%.
So how is weed illegal in California?
Okay, this requires context with marijuana. At the federal level, marijuana is illegal.
Yes.
But at the state level, it's legal in some states.
Agreed.
The federal government goes into some states, they do it every single month, and they literally arrest people for selling weed. The federal government is against it, but states are allowing it. And guess what happens when the federal government goes into a marijuana dispensary and literally takes everything?
Yeah,
and literally arrests everybody. They go to federal prison because federal law supersedes state law in any sense.
Agreed. Right. So the part that would be illegal in that sense would be if the states were trying to prevent federal law from happening. That's where federal law supersedes state law. So the states having that law in place isn't unconstitutional. It's actually protected under the 10th Amendment. When the supremacy clause kicks in would be if the states tried stopping the federal government from enforcing their federal policy. And the federal government trying to make states comply with their federal law can be seen as coercion. And that's basically the whole reason why the 10th Amendment was set up, so you don't have puppet states of the federal government.
Now listen, you sound like a smart guy. I appreciate this intellectual conversation. You're a smart guy. I appreciate it. But ultimately, listen, federal law supersedes state law in any sense. State laws don't have to be a representation or a mirror image of federal law. They can do whatever they want, as we see in marijuana clearly. But there are going to be repercussions. The federal government can come in at any time and shut down federally illegal operations that the state deems legal. That's clear.
Yeah, it's up to the discretion on how heavily they want to enforce that policy. That's why I know. Yeah, so I know. Like under Obama, he kind of didn't regulate California as strictly. But that's kind of where. So that's why sanctuary cities are legal. That's the only thing a sanctuary city is basically saying.
Oh man, hey dude, shoot, I totally forgot. I'm new to TikTok. I just got a warning. We can't bring up drugs, and I'm so sorry, dude.
Yeah,
we're having a great conversation though, but I guess I'm gonna stop the live here. I got that warning, so but so sorry about that. I'm new to TikTok. I've only been on 2 weeks, but listen, you're a smart guy. I'm gonna be on live again tomorrow. Please come back on. I love talking to people who are smart like you, and even if you disagree with me, good on you for having solid opinions grounded in the Constitution. You're an interesting person.
Yeah, thank you, man. You have a good day.
All right. Yeah, sorry guys, we got a live restriction. Oopsie daisy. You want to talk about foreign policy then? Let's talk about something new.
We can talk about foreign policy. I believe everything he's done with Ukraine was really bad. The way he was framing Zelensky to be like this authoritarian fascist, how he said like Zelensky was carrying on the war, he started the war, how he said the war would never start if he was in office, he'd blame Biden for the war. It was basically obfuscating everything from actually consoling the hard parts of blaming Vladimir Putin for the war, which he has yet to do. He said he would put sanctions on Vladimir Putin, which he has yet to do. It's been over 2 months now, and just everything that's been happening seems he's taking this.
Well, listen. I don't disagree with you. I think Putin needs to slap himself with the Bible. Quite frankly, I think he's a ridiculous actor. And Trump is literally. He was just asked in an interview less than 2 weeks ago ABC, why are you trying to end the war in Ukraine? He said, because 5,000 people are dying, 2,500 on both sides each week, and he's trying to end that. That's the kind of foreign policy that Trump involves himself in. Yeah, things have been imperfect, but ultimately he's trying to end the war, and that's why I like him.
Well, just ending the war is not a good thing, right? We wouldn't.
What do you mean? Hold on. What was that statement? Just ending the war is not a good thing. What about ending a war is a bad thing in your eyes, sir?
Yeah, giving up endless.
You need to slap yourself with the Bible for that one.
Yeah, giving up endless concessions on one side isn't a just way to end the war, right? I mean, we could end any war in the history if the other side just fully, unconditionally surrenders, right? The people of Ukraine want justice because they've had their land annexed. Right, they want some type of just resolution, whether that be some type of security guarantees.
Sir,
right?
Okay, listen, you sound like an absurd war itself. The quicker the war is done, the less people die. You're saying people getting justice is more important than people dying. You're saying that in the name of justice, people can die. In the name of justice, there should be death. That's exactly what you're saying. I don't agree with the premise, because it literally dilutes any sort of love or human atonement on the idea that people shouldn't die. And so ultimately, I don't agree with you. That's a disgusting argument. And anybody who carries that argument that justice overrides death needs to literally rethink themselves and slap themselves with the Bible, quite frankly.
So if the people of Ukraine wanted some type of justice from Russia, right, would you say that they're not allowed to have it or have any sovereignty because people in their country would die?
Sir, I'm not even going to have this argument with you. You're intellectualizing the relationship inside of Ukraine.
This is what happens with almost every
to a
conflict
point
ever.
where you're saying that whatever you're intellectualizing is more important than people dying every day. I'm saying we should end the war immediately. Now, today, and you're saying no in the name of justice. How is it justice if 5,000 soldiers? Did you serve in the military, sir?
No.
I served in the military, and I'll tell you, those soldiers are really good people, and 5,000 of them dying a week is unimaginable. Could you imagine? You've never even met 5,000 people in person, and that's what dies a week.
Okay, so I have a question.
We want to end that war as soon as possible, and any intellectual argument against that shows just how dull and intellectuals like yourself are.
Yeah, so if China attacked mainland America, would you be fine with conceding the entirety of, like, let's say, Florida, so we don't have any type of war or conflict?
All right, folks, what we got here, this guy needs to slap himself with the Bible. He just pivoted to China. After we called them out for supporting justice over war. My argument is that justice itself does not override war, because the justice from within war is more profoundly needed and desired than any intellectual desire you have. You're an intellectual, but you have over-intellectualized people dying to the point that you think they're going to die, and now you're pivoting to China, sir. We're talking about Russia and Ukraine. How dare you step off and pivot from the point where you're showing your inhumanity as a leftist?
This is a comparison, not a pivot. So I'm comparing.
Oh no, it's a pivot, sir. That was 100% a pivot, and you're pivoting because you're a Democrat. And when you get blocked intellectually, you pivot out of it. That's what academia teaches you to do, and that's what you're doing right now. Academia is soft, it's dumb, and it literally thinks that people dying.
Yeah, so the
people dying, that there's other justice at a higher playing field than that. It's absolutely insane, and that shows why you're a Democrat, because Democrats over-intellectualize things to the point where they forget fundamental truths of morality and love.
Thank you. So the comparison is Russia illegally annexing Crimea to China illegally annexing Florida. That's the comparison I'm trying to roll.
Oh my God, now in your hypothetical, it's so absurd. China annexing Florida? That would never happen. 100%. The U.S. controls and dominates the globe. We have military bases on every continent that there is. Thank you for the crown. I like that. We have military bases on every continent that there is. Nobody's invading Florida. This literally is a logical fallacy that you're using in your argument. I thought you were an intellectual. Did you go to college, sir?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, you sound like you went to college. Well, I'll tell you, you're really smart. Here's the proof in the pudding, folks. I take back everything I said about academia. This guy never went to college, and ultimately, he's still a good debater. I still give it to you. I still give it to you, son. But you need to slap yourself with the Bible.
Okay. Well, so I would like to know what the fallacy is that I'm presenting. I don't believe just like answering a hypothetical, even if the probability is pretty low. I'm saying if China were to like annex Florida, you wouldn't just unconditionally give that up, right? We would probably go to war for it, or probably fight over it, right? Some like territory that's ours.
Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. You're pivoting. Are you going to concede to the fact, you're pivoting again, are you going to concede to the fact that you think that there's justice and then there's not justice and people dying? It's absolutely confusing. Are you going to concede that you think more people should die in the name of justice?
Well, the people of Ukraine itself, they are still willing to fight for the cause. It's not like the Ukrainian people are being held hostage at the will of the government, right? There's still a lot of support for the war, especially after the drone attacks. There's been a ton of support for Ukraine, not only internationally, but domestically as well. So if the people of Ukraine still want to fight, I don't know why we should just try like making them concede into like a bad minerals deal and making them get no security.
This is insane. You're still arguing, your son, you're still arguing that there should be war. It's absolutely inconceivable. You have no value of human life. You have no value for the life of the warriors of both countries. I was a warrior for the United States of America as a U.S. Army sniper. Links in the bio if you want to check out the information on that. But ultimately, I'm telling you, I still respect warriors in other militaries that are opposition to us. And there are 5,000 of those warriors dying literally a week. And you're somehow here on the platform that has 130 million Americans. You're on here in America's literally new battleground for the mind, arguing that it is in the name of justice, people should die in Ukraine. It's disgusting.
Well, no, to be clear, I condemn what Putin did. I don't think Putin invading Crimea or the Donbass was good whatsoever, right? But I don't believe we should just surrender all that territory, or at least the Ukrainian people don't believe they should just surrender all that territory and be constantly pestered by Russia, being influenced by them. They clearly shown they want to be more aligned to these Western nations, and they keep trying to break away from the East after everything that Russia has done that's been very abhorrent to all these non-NATO aligned countries. They want to put themselves in something with like the EU or NATO. I don't.
Son, slap yourself with the Bible. You're still arguing for this. Like, this is gross. I'm just going to drop you. I can't even deal with this weird leftist here. This guy, he's trying to intellectualize war. And he's literally trying to say that war should be continuing because there's no justice in Ukraine. Listen, we want to end the war and then talk about the specifications and the ramifications of it. We've got to stop people from dying first. That's the main goal of ending a war. And that guy is so gross. Listen, folks, thanks for being here. God bless you. I hope you're having a wonderful day.